guys, welcome back to my channel. Mermaid Nina here. Well, tonight we are with our final park itinerary video. That's right, tonight we are gonna do Hollywood Studios. Whoop whoop, absolutely love Hollywood Studios. Make sure you check out my family over at Hollywood Studios actually attempting to do this type of itinerary, and in that video you will notice that sadly things happen that kind of adjust and change your game plan, and you do kind of have to go with the flow when that happens. But let's get to tonight. So just like my previous videos, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom, I'm going to take you through the park map, and we're going to go ride by ride, pass by pass, and I'm going to share with you guys exactly how my family does Hollywood Studios. But in the end, I am going to walk you through what you might want to do if you're a coaster person or if you're going with really little kids, because the fun thing about Hollywood Studios is it can kind of cater to all types of people. So you might actually want to do Hollywood Studios a little differently than my family, depending on your interests. And this is, of course, why I am not a fan of, minute by minute itineraries, because they just aren't one size fits all. But again, we're going to follow what my family typically does, and then hopefully you guys can take some notes and adjust it to fit your wants and your needs, right? You guys with me? Let's get to it. So the first thing, of course, is we are going to use Genie Plus when doing this itinerary. You can absolutely go to the parks without Genie Plus, but you may not be able to do as many rides, and you may be waiting in a few longer lines. Again, purchasing Genie Plus is all up to you guys, but we are going to assume you are also doing Genie Plus, and that is how we are going to do this itinerary. So the first thing you need to know is the individual lightning lane right now at Hollywood Studios is Rise of the Resistance. So you can either pay for it or wait in line. The line for Rise of the Resistance is uber long. So my suggestion, just pay for Rise of the Resistance, which will happen at 7 a.m. if you are a resort guest. If you are not, you most likely are just gonna have to wait in line, because you guys will get individual lightning lanes when the park opens. By that time, Rise of the Resistance is probably gonna be gone. But if you are staying on property like me, then yes, pay for Rise of the Resistance and just save yourself all those hours in line. The other thing you need to know is the tippy toppity top Genie Plus ride over at Hollywood Studios. Was I even saying words? I'm not even sure. The number one ride over at Hollywood Studios for just regular Genie Plus is Slinky Dog. So if you are interested in Slinky Dog at all, that is going to be the pass you are going to score at 7 a.m. So you guys with me? So we aren't Slinky Dog people. I'm trying to be Slinky Dog people, but the kids just still aren't there. So we will not personally be doing Slinky Dog. That will not be my Genie Plus game plan, but it needs to be for you if you are at all interested in Slinky Dog. In fact, make sure you guys check out my video where it's Rise versus Slinky Dog. Which one should you try to pass first? That's right, I have a whole video just on that. But those are the things you need to know going into it, right? The one you're gonna pay for is Rise, and the first one you need to try to score, like the second you can, is Slinky Dog. You guys with me? All right, let's go through it. So for my family, what we're gonna try to pass at 7 a.m. is either Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Toy Story Mania, because that is what my kids' interests are. If you're a coaster person and you don't wanna do Slinky, then you're gonna be looking at Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster. Make sense? All right, so let's get into it. So at 7 a.m., you woke up, you're on your phone, refresh. You're gonna go ahead and get Rise of the Resistance for individual lightning lane, which means you paid for it, right? And then you are gonna get Slinky Dog. But if you're my family, you're not. You're actually gonna get Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. That's right. So when we start the park day, we will have already passed Rise of the Resistance, right? We had to pay for it, and Mick and Min's. You guys with me? So because we are resort guests, we get to go into the park a half an hour early. I know this doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge for Hollywood Studios when a lot of these rides get long quickly. So if you weren't able to pass Slinky, then yes, rope drop Slinky. For us, we're not so much into Slinky, so we are gonna rope drop Toy Story Mania. And again, if you've seen that video, Toy Story Mania, oops, there was a situation that happened to us there. Again, not every park day is perfect, but in general, yes. When park opens for us resort guests, so if the park opens at 9 officially, resort guests can get in at 8:30. So we'll be at, the park waiting, 8 a.m. Open those gates, right? 8:30, we're gonna go and do Toy Story Mania. Probably a 15 to 20 minute wait at that point. And then hopefully our Mick and Min's Genie Plus pass that we got was for early in the morning, like 9 o'clock, 9:30, pretty early in the morning. So we're gonna rope drop Toy Story, then we're gonna kick back and go to Mick and Min's and use our first Genie Plus pass of the day. Now wait for it. What we're gonna do, because we're crazy, while we're in line and we've scanned 2 times over at Mick and Min's, we're gonna pass again Toy Story Mania. That's right, you heard me. My kids love that ride. And because they aren't too far from each other, we can easily kind of ping pong back and forth. So yes, we will absolutely Genie Plus pass Toy Story Mania and ride that a second time. I know, guys, we're a little crazy. And this is where I want to kind of talk about the park map. So in all the other parks, we kind of went with the flow of the map. Not so much with Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios, I feel like their rides are kind of like in these weird little clusters. And depending on what your interests are, you could hang out in a cluster of rides and do them in a row, and then kind of move and go to a different cluster of rides. Obviously, from the front entrance of the park to the very, very back would be Galaxy's Edge. So the hardest thing to get to is Galaxy's Edge. So if any of your stuff is, Falcon, Rise of the Resistance first, that is gonna be the longest distance from the front to the very, very back. Mick and Min's is kind of in the middle. So is Toy Story Mania. If you are coaster people, you'll be turning like a right and you'll be doing Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. Those are kind of in their own little cluster. So does that kind of make sense? So again, with our passes, we have already ridden Toy Story now twice and Mick and Min's once. So after we scan in for Toy Story, right, we're gonna go ahead and pass another ride. For my family, it's gonna be the Falcon, the Millennium Falcon. For you, it could be Tower of Terror. It could be Rockin' Roller Coaster. It could be the Frozen sing-along. I mean, it just really depends on what you're after. For my family, it will 100% be the Falcon. Now, after we've ridden Toy Story and then Mick and Min's and then Toy Story again, we're probably getting close to that lunchtime. So around 11 o'clock or so is probably how long it's been. So depending on what's going on and what time it is, we might kick over and do Alien Swirling Saucers if the line is short, or we might head over to our lunch. Now, my family loves to get reservations over at Sci-Fi Drive-In Theater, which is also really close to ABC. In fact, they share the same kitchen. Again, they're in that little cluster. So depending on what time it is and what time our lunch reservation is, we might hit up Alien Swirling Saucers, or we might head towards our lunch area and maybe do the Frozen sing-along, maybe check out and see how long the line is for Star Tours, or do Muppets. Again, it really just depends how long things took before we got to that point. But again, lunch for us is usually in that Sci-Fi ABC area. Unless, of course, for some reason, the Falcon Pass was really, really soon, in which case we will kick over and eat at Galaxy's Edge over at Docking Bay or Ronto Roasters. So if you guys are with me, we will have done Toy Story twice now, Mick and Min's, and then possibly Alien, Frozen, Star Tours, Muppets, who knows. After lunch, we are gonna head towards Galaxy's Edge over at Batuu. That may or may not be time for us to ride the Falcon, but it's at this time, I'm hoping it's time for our Rise of the Resistance pass. As I said in the beginning, we're paying for Rise of the Resistance because it's an individual lightning lane. You actually get to pick your time. So you can actually scroll through and say, you know what? Nina said about lunchtime we might hit Star Wars, so maybe I'll do Rise of the Resistance around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Sound good? So hopefully that's what we got. Again, we rode the rides in the morning, we had our lunch, and now we're heading back to the Star Wars area because we had passed the Falcon and hopefully had gotten a slightly after lunch-ish time for Rise of the Resistance. Again, because I don't want to be a human ping pong ball as much as I can, those Star Wars rides are kind of in their own little cluster over at Galaxy's Edge. So post-lunch, we will do the Falcon and hopefully Rise of the Resistance. We will also walk around, shop a little bit, probably use the restroom, and grab a fun little Star Warsian snack. Maybe we'll build a droid or a lightsaber. It just depends on what's going on. After we've kind of fully explored Batuu, we can then move on. So you can go back through the Toy Story area if you want, but since we've already ridden Toy Story Mania and possibly Aliens, we're gonna kick over to the other side of Galaxy's Edge and finish the rest of our day. So if we haven't done Muppets, we might kick over and do Muppets. If we haven't done Star Tours, we might go ahead and pass Star Wars. You know, when we got off the Falcon, we can pass again. Probably we'll pass Star Tours or the Indiana Jones stage show. It really just depends on how long the lines are. If Star Tours has a long line, we will pass it. If Star Tours is like 20 minutes, then we'll just walk on it and we'll pass Indiana Jones so that we're guaranteed to have a nice semi-close seat. Does that kind of make sense? For you, you could be doing, again, Frozen or kick over to the coaster area. It just depends what your game plans are. But for us, 100% our goals are always Mick and Min, Toy Story Mania, the Falcon, Rise of the Resistance, and Star Tours. We will absolutely add in, kind of like as a filler, the Frozen sing-along, the Indiana Jones stage show, and even the Muppets. Does that kind of make sense? We will usually at some point either ride Mick and Min's twice or Toy Story twice. So assuming we've now finished kind of the map-ish as we wrapped around to the Star Wars area and we did Muppets and Star Tours and Indiana Jones or the Frozen sing-along, we're getting now close to the exit or the front of the park. It is at this time, my family will usually have kind of a little discussion. What is left that we really need to do? Do we want to go have dinner? Maybe we'll go to Disney Springs and have dinner. Maybe we'll hop to Epcot and have dinner. It's super easy to hop to Epcot from Hollywood Studios. You can either walk, it's about 15 or so minutes to walk, or just hop on the Skyliner, take a few little out of the way areas, but you will eventually get to Epcot, so you can hop to Epcot. Currently, right now, Hollywood Studios doesn't have their huge evening show, which is Fantasmic. That is coming soon. We just don't know when. They do have their, I think it's like Wonderful World of Animation or something like that. And it is a light projection show that happens around the Chinese theater. It is a really cool show, but it's not something for my family to be willing to stick around for. If we happen to be there in the evening and it's time for the show, yes, we will 100% stop, go over and watch it. But it's not something like the fireworks over at Magic Kingdom where we will wait an hour or so and watch the fireworks. So again, it really just depends on what your game plan is. Does this make sense? Hopefully it does. Because of the cluster way that Hollywood Studios map is, we usually kind of hit our favorites and then just kind of move along the cluster areas. All right, and just as I promised for you coaster people, perhaps you are young adults, perhaps you have teens, perhaps you have wild and crazy kids who love coasters, this might be more up your alley. So just like what we did, you're gonna go ahead and try to pay for Rise the Resistance if you can, assuming you're staying on property, and then you're gonna Genie Plus Pass Slinky Dog all at 7 a.m. Then, resort guest, you're gonna rope drop either Tower of Terror or rock and roller coasters. Those are both in their own little cluster kind of area. As you enter the park, you turn right and they're both kind of right there. Which one should you rope drop? I would say it really just depends what the app says that morning, or what the app has been saying the week before your trip. If Tower of Terror is more important or more popular than Rise of the Resistance, then you would want to do that one, and vice versa. So what you're going to do is you're going to rope drop Tower, and then if there's still time, you're going to get in line for Rock and Roller Coaster, or vice versa. Basically, your goal is to get Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster out of the way. Get her done. Then hopefully it'll be time for you to go ahead and do your Slinky Dog. But after you've either ridden Tower or you've ridden roller coaster, if it's been 2 hours since park opening, so 11 o'clock, you could pass again. Or if you've already ridden your Slinky Dog pass, perhaps you got that for early in the morning, once you've scanned into Slinky, you can pass again. So at this point, you're probably going to pass the Falcon, or Mick and Min's, or Toy Story Mania. Again, it's really just going to depend on where you are at in the moment and what the times are. But basically for coaster people, your goals will be Slinky, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith, right? Millennium Falcon, and of course, Rise of the Resistance. You're probably also going to want to do Mick and Min's Runaway Railway just because it's fun, Toy Story Mania, again, because it's fun, and possibly Star Tours. Star Tours my kids love, but it doesn't seem to get as long of a line as some of the other things, which is why we like to leave it towards the end of the day, because we most likely can score a pass for it. Again, when you are coming up with your Genie plus plan of the day, you want to hit all those key rides first. You want to pass the long rides. You don't want to just pass any willy-nilly ride. Mick and Min's and Toy Story Mania are usually in the 65 plus minute zone instantly. Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster are usually in the 70 to 90 minute zone instantly. If Star Tours is in the 15 to 20 minute zone, do you get where I'm going with this? You want to pass the crazier rides, the rides with the longer waits, the more popular rides, because you're going to get more bang for your buck that way. Because if your goal is to save time in line, then obviously the rides with the longest lines are going to be the ones you want to pass. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, you coaster people, you really are going to be after a different set of rides than my family. Now, perhaps you have littles, more littler than perhaps my kiddos, and you're not so much into coasters at all. This is what you're going to do. Obviously, if you have anyone in your party interested in Rise the Resistance, yep, again, pay for it. Individual lightning lane, Rise the Resistance. And then some little kids love Slinky. I don't know what it is about my kids. They want to have nothing to do with that ride, but I have plenty of clients who have littles who love Slinky. So again, if anyone at all is interested in Slinky in your party, then yes, 7 a.m., go ahead and Genie Plus pass Slinky Dog. Then for you, you are going to be similar to us in terms of rope drop. You're going to rope drop Toy Story Mania or Mick and Min's. And then obviously, hopefully your Slinky is in the morning. Once you've, passed your Slinky, you can get another pass. Or again, if it's been 2 hours since park opening and you haven't ridden your Slinky yet, you can get another ride. So depending on what's going on with your past times, your goals are going to be, like I said, Slinky possibly, Toy Story, and Mick and Min's. Lunch for you is going to be Hollywood and Vine, which has characters. That's right. Minnie, Mickey, Daisy, absolutely love the characters over at Hollywood and Vine. Or perhaps you'd be interested in sci-fi, eating in some vintage kind of 1950 drive-in movie theater cars. Again, up to you. But your focus is going to be more on the Frozen sing-along show, which is adorable, by the way. The Lightning McQueen experience, not personally my favorite attraction, but if you have littles who love Tow Mater and Lightning McQueen, yes, don't forget to check out that ride. Again, not really with a long wait, so you can kind of just do these whenever. you're gonna probably wanna do the Disney Junior Dance Party. That's right, that's pretty popular for the littles over at Hollywood Studios. Meeting the characters, Minnie, Mickey, Disney Junior characters. Those characters are popping up all over the place. Make sure you check the app so that you can find out what characters are meeting and where. And then you'll probably want to see the Beauty and the Beast stage show, which is also another really good stage show to watch. Just, it's not number one for my family, but if you have littles, this could absolutely be number one for you. So for you guys, the stuff you're interested in might not have as long of a wait. However, Slinky, Toy Story, Mick and Min's, and if you even want to do the Falcon over at Galaxy's Edge, those do. So even though you are also interested in the things that have long or shorter waits, Genie Plus could still be valuable for you for those other rides. Hopefully this makes sense. And I wanted to throw a little nod out to the food over at Hollywood Studios. I love the food at Hollywood Studios. There is a lot to choose from. So if for some reason you can't get into, Hollywood and Vine or sci-fi, you can check out Mama Melrose, which is like Italiano cuisine. Or if you want to spend a few more dollars and eat something just slightly more fancy, you could do the Brown Derby. If you're looking for quick service and you're not so much interested in ABC, you could do Woody's Lunchbox over at, the Toy Story Land, or you could do Pizza Rizzo near the Muppets. All really good options. We tend to do the same thing because I guess we're boring. My kids find something they really, really like and we just keep doing it over and over again. But don't be afraid to jump outside of that box and try something new. I have eaten at all the restaurants and I have done pretty much all the rides. I have stayed at all the resorts. It's just when it comes to my family, I just kind of do what they want to do, right? I just kind of go along with what they want to do. And if there's something new that happens, we will 100% try that out. But yeah, hopefully this Hollywood itinerary helps you guys out. Right now, until they bring back Fantasmic, it's not really an all-day park for my family, sadly. It used to be, but I think because it's really important that you Genie Plus early in the morning, and because it's really important to hit that rope drop early in the morning, we tend to be at that park so early in the morning that it's really hard to stay all day long. If you're staying on the Skyliner, of course, it would be easy to go back to your hotel room, take a little nap, and come back. But we have found since Genie Plus and all that stuff has rolled out that Hollywood Studios for us is kind of like a get in first thing in the morning. And then once you've ridden all those key rides and all the passes are all of a sudden gone and all the lines are super long, that's when we tend to kind of hop or go back to our room and do the pool. But let me know in the comments, guys, because are you all day long Hollywood Studios people? Let me know what you do because I'm really, really curious. We used to be, pre-COVID, we could absolutely hang out at Hollywood Studios all day long. But I feel like now lately, our last few Hollywood Studios trips, it's been more of that up until dinner time experience and then we leave. So, but yeah, just curious what you think. But anyway, guys, I hope this video helped you out. It is really important to do your research before you go to these parks. Look at the park map. Look at the Genie Plus ride options and see what items you want to put on your itinerary, on your game plan, so you can kind of mix and match these few different scenarios I put together for you and come out with what works best for you, because that's all I'm trying to do, guys, is help you guys out. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If the subscribe button is red, please click it, turn it gray, hit the bell icon for notifications. Like this video, pretty please. And like I said, comment. If you're an all day long Hollywood Studios person, let me know. I'm assuming if we actually rode all the rides, it could be an all day park for us. But because my kids really don't want to do Tower of Terror, and no way in heck they're doing Rock and Roller Coaster, it kind of just has us do our few key things and then we're out. But again, guys, let me know in the comments. Love hearing from you guys. But yeah, as always, mahalo for watching. Nina, out. Bye, guys.